Not so far.
I've been
Not from
talking
your
about. I've been saying this for like
description.
months. That you guys just don't listen.
What are the postmodernists getting at, Jonjon?
Yeah.
They're getting at. They're getting at like these ideas that when it comes to interpreting that that there's like almost an infinite amounts when it comes to like language, the way we validate ideas and concepts. So the problem is that this gets far too relativistic for like pragmatically for us to organize societies and shit because it gets into like obviously like some kind of moral relativism would be produced out of such a interpretation of reality. So, like for example, identity politics is absolutely a byproduct of postmodern philosophy. Like there's conclusions that are drawn within the postmodern structure, and entire worldviews are established around it. Like you guys have has nine been around here at all talking?
You mean X?
Yeah, Ix has been around.
Ix or Nine, he says he goes by either, and either is correct.
Yeah, he's very liberal. Way too liberal. John, what's identity politics?
Hicks is in ACA right now, talking about moral realism.
Hold up,
I just came from there.
my connection went out just for a second there, but what I was saying is like identity politics as a byproduct of postmodern philosophy. Absolutely, like if you understand it, like identity politics is it's like you separate everyone according to their group identity. So and because of like I heard like what aggravates me is when I come in here and listen to like I'll come in here at least 10 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, you know, and I'll hear people talking about ideas, and it's just like they don't understand what postmodern philosophy is, but they're getting at ideas that postmodern philosophy touches. So like for example, the other day I came in here and Lydia, or it might have been early this morning or something, I don't know, but like Lydia and some other person were talking about like is it all just power hierarchies, or is it that's the only real thing is like power?
That was yesterday, Jonjon.
Yeah, yeah. So you remember? Yeah. So they were talking about that, and like the idea, what they're trying to get at is there's this idea that uh, within postmodern that is heavily influenced. These ideas that are heavily influenced by postmodern philosophy of like the entirety of history can be summed up. You've probably heard this a million times. The entirety of history can be summed up by like white males oppressing everyone and everything. So that those types of ideas are established from these ideas that all there is power. That's it. So that's why like that idea is a real idea, and it's a far more popular idea than what people expect. I mean, look, fucking I come into this room and I hear people talking about that shit, right? Trying to, right? This idea that it's all about power and shit. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. But do any of you do? Have any of you heard any of these ideas? Because I don't feel like just giving a lecture.
I've heard the idea that the Marxists ignored some of what the postmodernists were saying.
Well, what's like if you like let's take for example the like debate, like freedom of speech. So like a lot of the college campuses where we would expect these ideas or these ideologies to be popular, like we see a lot of like freedom of speech being like thrown in the garbage. Like they won't let people speak and things like that, and that's just crazy. So like if you really like for me, like it's like a lot of people it blows their minds, but for me it doesn't. Like it's to be expected that they would not allow freedom of speech because underneath this ideology, like facts and debate is just another tool of oppression, right? It's a power structured tool that they use. So like let's say I'm gonna say some shit like I got facts and statistics that back up my thesis of this conclusion, and then some fucking idiot that's heavily influenced by postmodern philosophy comes along with his heavily relativistic notion of thinking, Hold on real quick. I gotta yell at my dog.
Make sure you mute, because I told everybody I had to yell at my kids and then fucking yelled into my mic by accident yesterday.
Wash up.
But anyway, like I was saying, like I'm not surprised that I see freedom of speech like being thrown away because underneath this ideology, you know, facts would be considered just another tool of oppression. You know, it really is all about power in their worldview. That's all there is. That's the only real thing is power, and this is like I was saying, identity politics comes from this because then you get oppressor oppressee, and this is where we get down the other rabbit hole that I've gone on about, where the Marxists have a new skin, right? And we like Jordan Peterson used to call them postmodern neo-Marxists, right? For a reason, is because instead of different classes versus different classes, it was simply oppressor versus oppressee, or identity politics, or grouping everyone into groups based off oppressor oppressee positions. Like it's just all fucking cancer, right? I mean, like I'm surprised. Like I've learned about this shit for like 2 years now. Like I'm surprised none of you guys have ever looked into this shit. I've been fucking like uttering it so much, saying it's like really important shit. Like all the smart philosophers right now, these are the ideas they're trying to express.
When you say all the smart philosophers, name some.
I'm just saying, man, you're stuck in like 2002, bro.
Can you name some? When you say all the philosophers, can you name like 5? Name 5.
Jonjon, Sam Harris,
Yeah.
Jordan
Yeah,
Peterson,
Sam
Steven
Harris, the
Pinker.
great philosopher.
What was that?
Sam Harris, the great philosopher. Yes. Yes.
You mean the guy who went and did undergrad studies for philosophy?
Jonjon, what's wrong with identity politics?
Well, that's a loaded question. I mean, I don't know how to even approach answering that.
Well, if you mean it's loaded in that I'm assuming you think there's something wrong with it, yes. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
I think identity politics is inherently racist. I guess that would be one way to go about it.
How can that be if identity politics doesn't entail race? I mean, you can have identity politics about lots of different things.
Correct.
Well, maybe not racist, but it's just like ridiculous conclusions are derived underneath this identity politics framework. Like identity
what?
politics only makes sense if you're heavily influenced by this postmodernist philosophy.
You can
And
also
most
ask
people
why
don't even
is
know about that shit.
What?
yeah. I mean,
You're
you can
a
also even
robot.
ask why is racism bad?
We're not gonna do that though.
Okay, fair enough.
You can go ask that in blue politics.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, go to
Look, it's
go
just
to blue politics. That
like it's just like a presupposition of this room that it's bad.
Fuck off, Ace.
Okay, look, I'll drop it.
Yeah, so like
Goddamn.
me, like my favorite topic or my favorite topics are like evolution and like stuff. And I've talked to you guys enough for you guys to know that I think ideas are pretty powerful. That like a lot of the religions are like selected for ideas. So I mean, like when it comes to this postmodern philosophy, I take it very serious. I think it's pretty fucked up. Like it's just sad that we have such powerful ideas floating around in our society that are so influential, and most people don't even know they're influenced by these ideas. Like I said, I come in here and I hear people trying to talk about like
can you give us
power
an
and all this
example
shit.
of
I don't even know what the
these
fuck they're
issues?
talking about.
Can you give us an example on these issues that is like so imperative that we know about it and talk about it and like
like like I'll give the most cookie cutter one I can. It's I think it's the most important. Is that wow, I mean, there's so many ways I can go about it. I'm just going to start from this angle. Like, I think that right now, floating around in our society or in the ether, one of the most dangerous things is some kind of relativistic notion of viewing the world, and especially how that applies to morality and ethics and how we structure societies. Right? I mean, we look at the UK. They used to be pretty relativistic, morally speaking, but now they're backtracking and they're being anti-moral relativistic. I've said that a million times, and I think that's a good example at how dangerous moral relativism can be. We've seen the Muslims enter into the UK and they did not integrate. They segregated themselves within the UK, and like their culture is getting destroyed. And now they're starting to ban burqas and shit. So like it's like Sam Harris is right. There's always been a war of ideas, and like these ideas are really powerful.
Are you saying that the Muslims entering is bad for the morals?
I'm saying that
Just yes or
yeah,
no? It just
yeah,
okay, but the Muslims aren't moral relativists.
that's fine. I'm just saying that the UK as a
But
government,
I look,
right? Like they're
you
trying to
just started
structure
this
their
off by
society.
saying that society is being tainted by moral relativists, and then you have an influx of moral realists, and you're saying that's bad.
I don't know.
Oh fuck.
What's up with that, Jonjon?
So I don't know. It seems like you don't really
All
have a
right.
problem. Maybe.
All right. So the main problem, right, is that like
All right, let me just.
going into the future. Is somebody else talking, or is my mic messing up? Because like it was really low.
Yeah. I'll just spell it out for the audience. Jonjon say moral relativist. Bad.
Can't hear you, Tom.
You're a little bit low, man.
Way low.
Tom, you're like covering your mic or something. It's like you got further away.
I don't see how that's possible. I'm just like wearing a Bluetooth
Boom.
headset, so
There you go.
That's
Now it
better.
sounds good.
okay. Literally nothing changed, but so Jonjon, you're saying moral relativist bad. Tom say moral realist good. Jonjon say yes. Tom say Muslims moral realist. Jonjon say ugh say yes. Tom say but moral Muslims are bad, right? And then Jonjon say yeah. So you're saying that Muslims being moral realists are good, but the Muslims, which are moral realists, are bad.
Yeah, it's
Do
very
you
muddled.
understand?
He's gone.
It wasn't as good as I.
Yeah, he's gone. Yeah.
It just seems like it's not moral realism.
Do you think he actually realizes that he's engaging in identity politics?
No.
Hey Tom, I
Yo,
hate to be that guy, but your
my bad.
mic is awful. Like it keeps going high to low, and then there's real bad background noise and stuff.
Yo, I had to switch devices. My bad. To whoever I was talking.
Mike?
Jonjon was talking. I could hear you were audible. I just couldn't understand what you were saying because Jonjon was talking.
Yeah, like when I left, I could barely hear Tom talking to me.
Michael, do you mind reiterating what Tom said?
I didn't really get all of it. because of the background noise, and now Tom's like really low. I hate to be this guy.
And can you do the voice as well?
It's like
Oh,
your
shit.
thumb
Sorry,
is
I'm on
covering.
mobile.
That's
Oh
cool.
shit, boys. Are you guys ready to go deep or what?
Jonjon, can I ask you a question, Jonjon?
Yeah, you just did.
Balls deep.
Quality. Yeah, Jonjon, do you think there should be a pushback against this identity politics business?
Well, I mean, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
How do you propose going about that? Or how do you think people propose going about that, Jonjon?
I think it would all start with people like Jordan Peterson, these people who are advocating, and other people like Jordan Peterson, who advocate the vital importance of the idea of the individual. It's an idea that the Christian Bible has absolutely encompassed, with the idea that there's certain ideas of the individual that are extremely productive when structuring societies and how you want people to act and behave. And we get into like identity politics. There's a lot of cancerous shit about that, and there's all kind of things wrong with it. Like, for example, we get into like there's tribalistic problems with it. There's them versus us problems that arise. It's always everyone's in a fucking group. You're always grouping everyone, right?
Yeah, like you just did with Christians and non-Christians.
I didn't misgroup Christians and non-Christians. I didn't do that. What the fuck?
You
I
will
didn't
be
say you
assimilated.
misgrouped them. You were grouping. In other words, identity politics.
In fact, Jonjon, this primacy of the individual is the ultimate identity politic.
Well, I mean, you guys
That's
are
exactly
probably
right. Yeah, because there are identities like Tom said that aren't inherently race bound, right? Like if you're against identity politics, then you should be a Marxist because you don't want
maybe not all.
classists running around Oh, here we go.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe not all, but like for example, to give an example, all of you would know most likely. Like, there's this cancerous idea arising about white men. And, it's extremely racist about how they group white males. Like, that is, if you guys can't see that that is a byproduct of identity politics, then come on, right?
That's
This idea that
also
if you're a
sexist.
white
It's
male,
not
you must be
racist. It's
privileged,
also
right? You
sexist.
heard of the white privilege, which you guys actually agreed with. I heard you guys talk about how you think white privilege is a thing, right? So if you're white, you're in this group. You have this identity. You have this privilege. Like, you guys are more
groups
influenced
now,
by these ideas than you realize.
Jonjon's against groups now, JJ. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just seems like you're against grouping people. Is that what?
Well, I mean, underneath, there's many factors here, right? First, you have the oppressor-oppressee narrative that postmodernists gives, and then there's another baby of postmodernists, which is identity politics. And then when those two get together and have a baby, you get, the entirety of history can be summed up by angry white men oppressing everyone and everything.
Look, Jonjon, identity politics predates postmodernism by probably 2 millennia, if not.
Like, I honestly, I think I'm sure what I'm trying to get across here is that, like, the angry white male narrative is derived from identity politics, right? This idea that if you're white, you must be in a group of privilege. You're a fucking white male, all right? That's all you are.
I don't think. Well, you didn't say that very well. That didn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't, because you guys don't know what these people think.
Male.
No, Aid Skrillex says it. You're fucking a white male. He says you're fucking a white male.
Yeah.
Jonjon, forgive me, I maybe misrepresenting you here, Jonjon, but it sounds like you're saying that people should group together to fight grouping together.
Zach, so you here?
Yeah, what's up?
Valk just killed someone 2 days ago, apparently.
Ooh.
Car crash, but still.
That's nuts.
Well,
that sucks.
she's going to fucking prison.
No, she's not. It was a four-way intersection with no markings at night on a dirt road. But they both just ran into each other. I'm sure
And
she
then
was
you
going
just
retarded fast, but
and the guy just died.
yeah.
That's nuts.
How could she not be found negligent?
I mean, I don't
You
know.
guys run out.
The news article says that she's not being charged, so either it was his fault or they couldn't identify the fault.
Still gotta live with it.
She's a tranny. You know she doesn't have fucking morals.
So you guys, I think it's pretty clear. You guys should start studying. Like, let's watch a podcast, do
Probably
something.
get to.
Anything about postmodern philosophy.
Okay.
I like individual expression.
She's investing me.
Why are you against individual expression,
Just-
Jonjon?
Like,
Claire,
my concerns.
Claire, can I call you real quick? Sorry.
My concerns, like I said, my favorite topics are like evolution and psychology. So like there's this kind of like evolutionary psychology that I'm in love with and that I'm interested in, and that's why I'm saying there's these ideas that are selected for, and I find them intriguing how influential they are on our society and young people. So like that's what concerns me. I see these ideas like, you know, like let's take Marxism, communism. These were ideas that were extremely influential. They were kind of dangerous, got a lot of people killed. And I think that, you know, postmodernism and the new culture we have of identity politics and things like that is just like round two, so to speak. Like it's the same shit happening over again. We have really powerful, influential ideas arising, and it's fucked up because, you know, you look at what these people believe, man. It's ridiculous. Like they actually believe this shit. Like I've said before, the hoax study papers professors, the mathematician, the philosopher, they they literally said it just like this, that they view it as a religion or religions arising in the universities. And like I said, it's because these people take the postmodern philosophy and come to entire conclusions on worldviews about moral and ethical conclusions on how we should run our world. And they, you know, dogmatically act these beliefs out, and that's what qualifies them as religion. That's why these mathematicians and philosophers view them as religions. So it's like all the shit that everyone always debates about society, all this shit. It's like none of you people have any right to even try to have those discussions unless you understand the bigger picture, what's actually.
You're just never going to make intellectual progress, are you, Jonjon? You're just going to keep in the same retarded nonsense over and over again.
Jonjon, when I was your age, the only thing I
That's
could think
just
about
rhetoric.
was smoking drugs and getting laid. You're fucking far too serious, man.
Like I said, people like Josh are just collateral damage. They were born in the wrong time. You know, they're heavily fucking. There's a lost cause now.
What are you talking about? What does that even mean?
It means you're extremely dogmatic. Like you're biased, you're bigoted. Like look how you hate on Jordan Peterson, for example. You got tons of new atheists who love the guy, but you hate him. You have nightmares about him. I wonder why,
He's just
Josh.
an idiot, Jonjon.
I haven't watched a Jordan Peterson video for like 3 months.
Anytime I try to bring up this postmodernist shit with Josh, he runs away, by the way. He's never even tried to address these issues.
He's just your.
But you see how fast he is to be arrogant.
Internet. He's just your average internet idiot. I don't understand. I mean, average, not in the sense like in terms of beliefs, but obviously he has a huge following. But any idiot can have a following, right?
I think it's clear that Jordan Peterson stole a lot of the new atheist fan base.
Well, is that supposed to be relevant somehow?
Well, I think that the new atheist fan base prided themselves on their subscription to reason and logic,
Yeah, they said
not
all
being
sorts of dumb
complete
shit.
dumbasses.
Yeah, that hasn't changed.
You're just talking out of your ass, Josh.
Look, anybody can say all those things. Do you think that there's anybody who doesn't pride themselves on reason
Anybody
and
can
logic?
say all those things. Who gives a fuck?
Exactly. That's my exact point.
Well, I mean, you don't. I guess we like different things, dude. You know.
What?
You're fucking boring, Josh. You just come in and say, "Oh, who cares, bro? Who gives a shit?" I'm fucking nihilist.
I came in and I said, "You're never going to make any intellectual progress, are you, Jonjon?" That's what I said.
Yeah, then I reminded you that you've ran for me many times over on the postmodern philosophy shit. Like you
What are
literally
you
just say,
talking
"Oh, we
about?
can't talk about it unless there's some like fucking." I don't even want to talk to you, Josh. You're fucking garbage to talk to, man.
I never said anything that you said I said.
You're a fucking troll.
So you're running away.
Just like your fucking old lady.
Isn't that
Sounds
what
like
you were just
John
saying
John's
to
running
Josh?
away.
Hold on, okay, Tom.
Yeah, I'm just saying, Josh is fucking annoying, man. Who wants to have a discussion with Josh?
But don't identify Josh as a troll because that's identity politics.
He came in, it's like, who cares? Who
Is
gives a
he,
fuck?
is he the oppressor and you're the oppressee, Jonjon?
No, because my dick's twice the size
Oh,
of his.
guess who's beeping now too?
Yeah, I've been hearing that. Yeah.
Isn't it Josh?
Jonjon's black? I didn't know that.
No, it's John John. John John's the one beeping, aren't you, buddy?
No, I'm not even inside, you fuck.
It could have been
Didn't
me.
hear that
I
dog barking?
was in the laundry room.
Yeah, it's Josh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so like all you, like when I look at you people, I see a bunch
John
of
John,
people
could you just
who
instead
turned
of you
into
just like
atheists.
emoting, could you respond to what Josh said?
No, he's a
That'd be
fucking
awesome.
troll. I don't want to talk to you, especially you.
Why is
You're
he
an
a troll?
arrogant troll.
Why
you
is
guys
he
are
a
a bunch
troll?
of arrogant trolls, man.
Why is he a troll?
But
why is he a troll?
I don't like him. I don't want to talk. Listen, I don't want to. I don't want to talk with Josh. You
A
understand?
troll is a troll shares an identity relationship with all the people that John doesn't like.
Yeah, that's the
No, a troll is anyone who makes it almost impossible to have a conversation. Like you guys, no one wants to have conversations with you people. You people just wait for people to come in here.
That sounds like identity politics.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, it sounds like you're grouping people, John.
The
Why
first
would you do
time,
that?
the first time people have a conversation with you, they never talk to you guys again.
That's
I
false.
wonder why. I wonder why.
Well, I mean, if that
That's
was
false.
the case, no one would be in here. You dumb fuck.
It's the same people. You guys pretend that it's not the same people having these dumb discussions all the time. Same shit.
Layla was new,
Same handful of people.
Layla, hold on. Layla's new to the community. Agnes is new to the community.
Yeah, she's
There's
been
some
on the
new people in
community for like 2 years.
No, but
John,
your
John,
original
the
claim was
people-
that
But she's
people,
new.
people. Your claim was that new people come in here, talk to us once, and then
We
don't wanna
disagree
talk
on
to us.
what
And
we
if that was
consider
the
new.
case- If that was the
I don't
case,
consider
if
2
that
years
was the
old new.
case, if that was the case, no one new would be in here. You dumb fuck.
Yeah, we disagree, man.
Who's
It's
the
okay to
newest
disagree.
regular?
Why are you here, Jonjon?
I'm assuming Rainey. Rainey's newest regular now.
Whatever. I mean, maybe a bad example, but the people that come in here are mostly people who aren't afraid to have these discussions.
Yeah, but the problem is, you guys aren't on some pursuit of truth anymore. Like,
How do you know that?
let's be real here.
How do you know that?
Because you guys haven't learned shit about what I've been
How
spewing
do
for the
you
last 2
know
years.
that? How
I
do
still
you
come
know
in here and say the same shit, and you guys are still surprised. And I have to give you a fucking lecture.
So let's say worst case scenario, we're not interested in anything that you say and we don't pay attention. How does it therefore follow that we're not interested in truth?
Because I see you guys have the same discussions all the
Well,
time.
how does that
The
follow? Let's say
conversations
worst
never
case
change.
scenario. Let's say worst
It's
case scenario.
embarrassing, man.
Let's say worst case scenario, we had the same discussion. How does it follow that we're not interested in truth?
I said you're not. I didn't say you're not interested in truth. I said you're
You
not
did.
on some pursuit of truth
Yeah,
anymore.
those two things.
Like when
are
you guys
equal.
come in here, like you guys aren't like super interested in some idea. You guys have been philosophizing.
How do you know that?
And you want to
How do
fucking
you-
get it.
How do you know that?
Like
How
when you
do
come in
know
here, you just see fucking Michael arrogantly trolling some new atheist or
Look,
some
this is
shit.
just
You know, the
very
Daily
simple.
Show.
This is just very simple.
Get
How
the
do you know
fuck
that?
out of here. I'm not dumb. I know you guys very well.
Look, this is very simple. How do you know that we're not excited about some form of philosophy? That's what I thought.
Because I pragmatically concluded it. Now
What
fuck
does that?
off.
What does that mean?
I'm not gonna get into an hour and a
That's
half
what I
long
thought.
discussion
Sit the
with
fuck
you.
down, you
You're so
faggot. Sit the
autistic,
fuck
man.
down.
Now you're gonna
Sit
call
the
me a
fuck
faggot
down.
and claim victory. This is what you do for like fun, bro. Just
No,
get
look,
the fuck
I'm
outta
claiming
here.
victory. I'm claiming victory because you can't track the fucking conversation. There's a
You're
difference.
autistic, dude. You're about to fucking get into like a 40-minute exchange. You're just fucking garbage. Like I'm not
Look,
gonna try to get
I
into
could
some little
be
mini
garbage.
debate with you over some dumb
I'm
shit.
willing to it.
You
Let's
might as well just
do
fucking
worse.
lay down and
I'm
beg for
gonna
my
be as
attention before I
I'm
fucking
gonna
do that.
be as charitable as possible. I'm gonna be as charitable as possible to you, Jonjon. You're right. I am absolute fucking garbage. Go ahead.
And
That's what I thought. That's
look
what
at
I
that
fucking
that
thought.
superiority complex that he's giving off. He's like, I'm gonna grant you some charity. These you guys are just
Jonjon,
nuts.
that's you. You're the one who's saying that we're all garbage and dumbasses, and you're woke. You're the one who's with the superiority.
No, I didn't
complex.
say all that. I said you guys haven't learned anything, and you guys been having the same discussions. You can conclude from that, right? You could basically conclude from that you guys aren't like super interested in these ideas and some pursuit of truth. You guys are just fucking losers who are trolling.
You're just assuming that you have the truth, and we're not pursuing your ideas. Therefore, not in pursuit of the truth. But we don't think that you're onto the truth.
You guys wait every once in a while, and then you get somebody who's passionate about some ideas to talk to you, and you get your rocks off real quick, and then it goes back to being really dull.
What?
We're not postmodernists. We don't want to change our views.
All of you guys have lost the spark, man. You guys aren't interested in philosophy like you should be. Like you guys should be obsessed with some kind of ideas. Like you guys are the type of people that claim to be atheists and argue for
let
atheists.
me respond to that. It's not that it's not that we have lost the spark, buddy. It's that you've become so entrenched in this batshit crazy fucking philosophy on YouTube that you're no longer a lol's cow. You're just not even interested.
No, that's not
You're the
true.
one
You
who's
think it's
lost the
crazy
spark.
that I think atheism has failed you people, right? That's what you think is so crazy. How is that fucking crazy? There's evolutionary biologists who
Hang
agree
on
with
just a
me.
second. Let me put on my seatbelt as
You
we
guys are
take this
fucking
hard
idiots. You guys
fucking
are
left
stuck in the
turn.
2000s.
Yeah, but you're the one who isn't an atheist because it's pragmatic, right? But we're the ones who think that it's not true. You're the one who's not interested in the pursuit of truth.
That doesn't make sense.
You just get off by coming in here and slew insults at people. And as much as you
Wait
say
a
that you're
minute.
not into identity politics, you are.
No, what happens
You
it's
just
abundantly clear
explained this to me, buddy.
that I'm the only real
doesn't make sense
philosopher
for
who's
you
actually
to-
interested in these ideas. Like I'm obsessed with some of these ideas, and you guys, this is why a lot of people just blow you guys off after having a conversation, because they actually are really obsessed with the ideas they're trying to talk to you people about, and you guys think it's all a joke, and they run off. Almost no one stays.
Well, this
What's
is
up?
all just meta.
So that's all I'm trying to point out, right? I'm trying to point out that, you guys have lost it, man.
What's up,
Jonjon, it's you
Jonjon?
that runs away from these discussions.
Do you recognize all the people in this room right now, Jonjon?
I'm not looking at my screen. I don't know who's all in the room.
Do you know who Alxicon is?
No.
Do you know who But4 is?
No.
Do you know who Goy's Gallery is?
No, I don't know any of those guys.
Do you know?
Zills.
Oh, so you got. Oh, I get it. You got more people in the
It's
room.
all
I
the
must be
same
wrong.
people.
Oh, fuck.
I don't know half the people here.
Oh, shit. Dude, let's be honest though. There'll be like 50 people in here. It's still the same 5 people talking every week.
Well, that's
I come in
a different
sometimes.
claim.
That's not true, Jonjon. I'm talking. I hardly ever talk, mate.
Yeah, Mia
I mean,
better
I'm not here to talk shit, right? I'm not here to talk shit. I'm genuinely here.
That's all
But
you've
let's be
been
honest.
doing.
I got like
That's all
fucking
you've
3
been
different
doing.
trolls, right? That I'm talking to at once right now. That they're just gonna try to bog down the dialogue at every corner, try to have meta debates around every corner to see if they can get me. It's
Yeah,
like,
this
dude,
is totally not meta, is it?
Look, identifying
John.
is not going to help your position. That's just playing politics.
if I could bring up, if I tried to have a discussion about something right now, there'd be like 3 different people trying to take it off in 3 different directions, all of them trolling me.
What do you want to
Yeah,
have
you're
a
right. You better
discussion
not
about?
try.
What do you want to discuss, John?
I wanted to discuss about how like ideas are selected for, and how these ideas are really influential, and that like atheism would be an example,
Powerful.
and that atheism has failed us, and some of the other ideas and philosophies that are heavily influential, that are influencing our societies, and how, you know, people like Jordan Peterson fit into that picture and their influence over the big picture, things like that. Like all these people, it's just embarrassing that you haven't even addressed some of the most trivial questions, like, did atheism fail us? Shit like that.
I don't even know.
Like, there's many convincing arguments that atheism has failed us. You guys probably don't know them, but you guys should. That's the point.
What's the supposed like directive that is intrinsic in atheism? Like that question is so
Yeah.
malformed. Like somehow that a belief that God doesn't exist, or non-belief, or whatever the fuck you want to define it as, intrinsically has this directive that it has to be following. It has to have some like pragmatic outcome. There's nothing inherent in that in atheism.
Well, I think the point is that during the, like, I don't know, I guess the late 1800s or within the
Why
last
don't you
couple
just
hundred
address what he
years,
said?
when we had a shift.
Just address what he said, John. Why don't you just address what he said?
I am.
Do you agree with what he said or not?
No.
Okay, so you think there is something intrinsic to atheism. What's that?
Listen, you guys, I'm not. There's a semantical brick road we can't cross when you use words like atheism, right?
He said,
you guys sit
he said
here
there's
and
nothing
debate.
intrinsic to
You say there's no semantics, but I've heard you guys debate semantics over what atheism means 100 different times.
No, John, stop. John, he said there's nothing intrinsic to atheism. I asked you if you agreed with that, and then you said no. So what do you think?
I don't
is
even care
intrinsic
about the
to atheism?
definitions, right? I'm not gonna fucking argue with definitions. Don't use the word atheism. I can reiterate what I said without using words like atheism, right? So we don't get bogged down and whether or not there's something intrinsic to some fucking
John,
word.
Just answer the question. Just answer the question.
I already did. And you're fucking garbage. I told you I don't want to talk to you, man. He can talk for himself.
Go ahead and reiterate, John.
All right, start with the sentence. What's intrinsic to atheism is ... Then you come in. All right, John.
All right, listen. So just forget Josh was talking. So when I was gonna reiterate or whatever is that we can throw away the word atheism. I won't even use that word. I could like, for example, I'm saying there are ideas that are really influential that have been selected for.
The thesis that atheism failed us. If you're not gonna,
You're cutting in and out, Josh. Just stop talking.
How are you retracting?
He's retracting that.
You're not even going to use that word.
Josh, you're really annoying, man.
Yeah, so you retract the word atheism. You retract that statement.
Yeah, I just want to
rephrase
emphasize.
Say, then,
I just want to.
If it's not the word atheism, what has failed us, John?
Like maybe I should reiterate how I'm saying it's failed us, but I would say the first thing that pops in my head just now was like ethos. So there's like this ethos, I guess, that's failed us, that's developing and forming. But I think that there's like a hierarchy. There would be like a hierarchy of ethos. So we would be able to say that this dying off ethos, I don't even want to listen. I'm getting more confused. I just want to reiterate and maybe clarify. So I'm saying that, like, I'm a heavily evolutionary thinker. I think about everything through evolution and things like that. So I think that, especially with ideas and language, so I'm just like religions. Like, I think that religions are selected for,
Well, look,
based off the utility. So if
I understand. Look, I got you, right? You're an evolutionary thinker. You try to think it through those lenses.
Well, your view is self-refuting.
But why
John
would you
John.
guys disagree? What part of
Your
that do you
view-
guys think is stupid? Like, that's not a stupid worldview or interpretation of the world. That's one of the best ones, in my opinion.
Self-refuting. I'll explain why I think it's stupid. I think it's self-refuting, right? Because you couldn't.
Why?
Be
You probably
against...
subscribe to evolution.
Sorry, you couldn't be against anything on the view that it's adaptive, because that would just mean that all the things that you think you're against that currently exist have been adaptive. So that means they're good.
Don't use the word adaptive. Use the word utility. There's different levels of utility. I don't know what it would mean to be there to say there's different levels of adaptive. Like I said, you're just such a fucking. I don't know if you're purposely doing this. I think this is just like.
What are you talking
You can't
about?
understand it.
You don't even understand what you're talking about. Evolutionary psychology, dude. All that shit is that
You don't believe in any of that shit. I've heard you guys a million times say it's all garbage.
Stop over talking me. Stop over talking me. Look, you're the one that's talking about, oh, I'm all about evolution. Evolutionary psychologists think that beliefs are adaptive. That's what they think, John. So it just seems like you don't even know anything about evolutionary psychology either.
That's not true. Like what I'm saying is,
it is true, John.
Oh, that's no.
Do you
He's
believe
using
in
the word
adaptation?
adaptive.
Do you
I'm
believe
claiming
that evolution requires adaptation?
I use the word utility, and Josh and you have both threw utility out the window. You won't fucking.
Nope.
You won't. It's like I'm not even using the word utility.
Psychology.
And you've replaced. I think you've replaced the word utility. What I mean by utility, you're just using as what you're bringing up, right?
John, do you think that they don't talk about
That's not the right
adaptation
way to
in
go about
evolutionary
having the
biology?
dialogue.
Sorry, John. This is a yes or no.
Yes, I'm aware that you, Jack, you guys don't even think that evolutionary psychology is useful, right?
I'm going to ask you a yes or no question, John. Do they talk about adaptation?
I don't ignore all these things. I know your worldviews, right? I'm not going to have a fucking pointless debate where you just arrogantly poke your fucking chest out because we have fundamental disagreements.
Just answer the question. Stop dodging the question. Do they talk about adaptation?
I'm not dodging the question. I think you're dodging because you won't address the fundamental disagreements we actually have that keep us from even having a productive dialogue, right?
I'm just asking you a question, John. Do you?
Yeah, and I told you I don't want to talk to you. So why? Why are you asking me?
Run away, bitch.
I mean, you might as well just start begging for my attention, Josh.
I mean, it's really interesting that like you go on and you bloviate about these fucking concepts. Like you originally say that like.
I think I think Josh proved my point very well. I said that if I tried to have a conversation, they'd take the dialogue off in weird directions.
I'm not finished.
And that's exactly what Josh did.
I'm not
wanting to debate about fucking
John. Look, I think it's really funny that you make these grandiose claims, right? Like somehow atheism has failed us, and then you get pushed back on that point, which is just to say that my response.
You consider it being pushed back.
Excuse me.
I consider it arrogantly poking your chest out.
Thank you. And then somehow I push back by saying something like, "There's nothing intrinsic of atheism."
Yeah, no, you're a hard ass.
There's nothing.
You're a hard ass, man. You're a troll.
There's nothing intrinsic. It's regard to
That's what you
atheism
mean by
or
push back.
agnosticism that would say that somehow it's failed us because it doesn't have a directive. There's nothing.
I haven't even got to explain what I mean.
There's
by
nothing.
I almost got into a meta debate with Josh.
There's nothing operative about it, right? Like there's nothing that's entailed.
And now I'm expected to just listen instead of explain.
There's nothing that's entailed in atheism that would assume that it's failed us in the first place. I asked you about that.
I told you to throw that word away, but of course you still haven't.
Excuse me, your response to
God,
that.
you guys cannot have discussions.
To that, John.
No wonder it's so fucking quiet
your
when I come in.
Your response, John, is then just to say, "Oh well, let's just throw out the word that I used in the first place, which was atheism," as if that will get you anything in the conversation. As if that will
Listen, I don't want to use the word atheism.
As if that.
Why are you ignoring that, man? You're so fucking annoying. You're like a child, bro. I have to just keep repeating myself over and over again. Don't use the word atheism.
As if that.
I don't care about the word atheism anymore.
Sort of leverage.
I've said that 6 fucking times, and you're still gonna keep arguing. Like, come on, you guys are.
To justify the claim. I want you to justify that.
You're just fucking arguing with
justify
yourself.
the claim. I want to hear the argument. What is the argument?
Are you done?
What is the argument? I want to hear the argument. You made a claim. I want to hear the argument.
Listen,
I've heard a lot about,
I'm not gonna use the
how
word atheism,
everyone in
man.
this
I've said it so
server
many
is
times.
shit, right?
JJ got it at first. He's like, hold on, guys. He's reiterating. Hold on. But you
I've heard a
forgot all.
lot about how everyone
Then
in
you
this server
didn't,
is
Joe.
garbage. We're not interested in philosophy. I'm in there
I didn't
with
get very
you,
far
buddy.
because of Josh.
I'm willing to go down the road with you. I want to hear
And
the
apparently
argument.
Declan just ignored
I want
everything.
to hear the argument, Jonjon. Give me the argument.
God, man, just go take a deep breath, Declan.
Give me the argument. I want to hear the argument.
I want you to relax first before
Are
I
you
even
going
think
to
about
give me
having
the
a
argument?
discussion with you,
I'm
dude.
completely
Get the fuck outta here.
relaxed. I'm not
You're
yelling at
annoying
you.
as
Does
fuck.
Declan
I
ask him?
want to
Alright,
hear
if
the
you're,
argument.
you're so relaxed that
Yeah.
you've made me repeat myself about 100 times.
Yeah, I want to hear the argument. What is the argument?
For what?
He's using the word atheism. He wants me to give him the argument for why atheism has failed us. I told him 10 billion times, JJ. I don't even want to use the word
Well, I hope
atheism.
not. You
I
already-
want the
you already
I mean,
argument.
retracted-
Jesus Christ.
Why, if you don't
You
want to
already
use that
retracted
word,
the claim.
John, if you
He's
don't
a
want to
big
use that
fucking
word,
baby.
John, then why fucking make the statement if you don't want to use that word? It sounds
Listen
stupid.
to you guys. Listen to
He
how honest you
completely
guys. Listen.
retracted the
So
claim.
disingenuous. That's the right word. You guys are extremely disingenuous. It's just so clear.
I don't know about
So
that.
garbage, man. So garbage.
I don't.
You're an
Yeah, I
insane
don't-
human being.
You
John.
guys
are
do
just a
not
fucking-
know how to have a conversation, man. You guys are just like trolls, I guess. I guess that's what you would say. You guys are just trolls,
There's
man.
your argument.
Well, that's what you've been saying.
Like you guys are just looking for like an emotional
Right,
response.
you retract,
That's all.
Jonjon,
I
you
want an
retracted the
argument. That's all I
claim.
want.
You retracted the claim. What's your new claim?
Well, I tried. I mean, goddamn, I hate repeating myself so many times. But the new claim is that there are ideas that are. Who is that? Is that fucking Agnes?
Yeah, hurry the fuck up on with coming up with an argument. Hurry up.
He's got to make a claim first.
Yeah. Jesus.
John,
But,
there are lots of claims. Just pick one and go from
So
there.
I would claim that like there are ideas that are really really influential, and that some of these ideas are like our ability to.
Holy fuck.
Well, you gotta understand that I'm dealing
I have
with
no patience for this.
these so-called
You're just gonna have to bow
philosophers.
out then, Agnes. We don't want to listen to you. Like, just.
Yeah, I'm dealing with these so-called
that.
philosophers, so I have to be so fucking careful with what I say in a really, really tedious way. This is just how
be
they make.
clear, Jonjon.
So, like, when I say atheism has failed us, I mean
You're going back
something
to that
like,
now?
yeah, because that's what he's so upset about. Like, he's just screaming it over and over. What do you
Okay,
mean by that?
all right,
Just give an argument for it, right?
then.
Just let him get it out for fuck's sake.
Yeah, just.
Yeah, so he's like
mods-
screaming for an argument for why atheism has failed us, and what I mean. I just want to elaborate on what I even mean by atheism has failed us. So when I say atheism has failed us, what I mean is that it's something like our ability to reason in this is what I think is the case. I've said it many times. In the late 1800s, when the scientific notion of viewing the world became very, very popular, and biblical critique became a thing where people started objectively interpreting religion. I think that in other words, when the scientific method, started to really influence our society, I think that kind of gave us atheism in a way, right? I think that a lot of the people who didn't want to believe in God in the late 1800s, early 1900s, would have considered themselves rational thinkers, secular humanists, the whole nine yards. And I don't think those claims are trivial, but if we get around the wrong crowds, like some of the people in here, I can't even make those two claims I just made without having to debate them for 5 hours straight. But I consider those two claims I made to be like pretty much trivially true, right?
You don't even know any history, Jonjon. So why would you say that?
But I'm just trying to elaborate on how impossible it is to even have these type of discussions. These are really complex discussions to be having with a bunch of trolls, right? Or in other words, people who are looking for emotional responses rather than just good dialogue.
I'm not looking for an emotional response. I'm looking for an argument. You were just given like a minute or two to expound on an argument, and what I got were a bunch of half sentences. That's all I
I thought
got.
he was reiterating his claim.
Well, we got to be very careful because if we're not careful on how we talk about this, it's just we could just already just guess on how it's going to go. Like it's going to be something where he's going to be like, "Oh, you're saying atheism failed us. Now give me some objective criteria and all that shit." And it's going to be like a moral realism versus relativism debate. Like that's just garbage, right? That's exactly where this discussion is going to go with Declan. You already fucking know it. He's just going to be like, "Oh, you're saying atheism failed us. Now, what's the objective criteria,
No,
Jonjon?"
I don't
want to
go
go down that route, It's
No,
fucking-
look, I'm not even going to go down that far because I don't think.
Look, he doesn't want to go down that far. At least he acknowledges
look,
that's his path.
No, look,
Like, that's
look,
where
John,
he's
John.
headed.
I don't even think that you could justify the claim because, as I said before, what's being
course.
tested is it has
I
nothing
don't
to
even
do
know
with
what it
objective
means.
standards.
Still. I still don't even know
That's
what it means.
That's exactly right. That's just to say, and the thing that I pushed back on was just to say that there's nothing inherent or intrinsic within atheism that provides anything normative. Well, like even pragmatically, to say
I don't want to use the word
that
atheism.
somehow-
You guys
that somehow-
argue about what that even means.
Excuse me, thank you. To say that somehow you are bound to some sort of directive now, right? Pragmatically, because you're an atheist.
Okay.
That's just
You
ridiculous.
guys argue about what atheism means on a daily basis, dude.
No,
That's
no.
not
That's Steve
bringing in the
McRae's
word
channel. That's Steve McRae's channel. Listen to me. I think we can fix this. So, you said atheism has failed us. You don't want to use the word atheism. Now, here's what you're just going to say. Instead of atheism, blank. And then we're just going to take that blank and we're going to put it in the spot of the claim atheism has failed us. And then we're going to go from there. Okay? So, instead of atheism, what word are we going to substitute?
Objective truth.
Objective truth has failed us?
Yeah. Yes.
How?
Yes, absolutely.
Is that objectively? John, is that objectively true?
What if you guys thought it was funny and then I explained it to you and then you guys were like, "Wow, he's right." Would you still laugh like all cringe and shit?
But you criticized us for not pursuing truth. Why would we pursue something that you say has failed us?
Oh fuck.
He's gone.
I think he wanted to say relative, but
Jordan Peterson rots your fucking brain.
I can't believe you didn't just replace atheism with secular humanism.
Jesus Christ.
Do we find out how he's doing with his job and shit?
No. He said his life has changed a lot, but he's happier.
that would have been more interesting.
Well, he couldn't help himself but come in here and talk shit.
We broke him. We literally broke him. Objective truth has failed us. Wow.
What you have to understand is that there are influential ideas that are very powerful.
Feelings are very powerful. Extremely powerful.
Also, yes. Also.
Wow. But I mean,
And
I think Josh summed it up perfectly in his opener with Jonjon. He just said, "You haven't progressed intellectually at all. Just absolutely no progress. In fact, quite possibly a regression."
Yeah.
It's insane.
I just found on karm.org they have a wish list on Amazon, and there's what is this? There's hadith, Sahih Bukhari hadith that they want someone to buy for them.
It's objectionable.
It's kind of weird.
Oh, he's back. Okay. What's up, Jonjon?
Hey, Jonjon.
Jonjon, so now that's the part you're going to explain it to us because we laughed at it. Now you're going to explain it to us and just wreck us all. Go ahead.
Well, I think that he should reconcile the contradiction first, right? Like, why would we want to pursue
that's true.
truth if objective truth has failed us? Why would we want to do that, John?
It's good. Yeah.
Because objective truth does indeed have utility. It just doesn't have the utility that is necessary for an all be all interpretation of truth to help a society function. So, in other words, I have like I've said many times, I think there's two different versions of truth, right? I think there's this deeply held, pragmatic, coherent philosophy of truth, right? It's a pragmatic truth. You can look it up. And then there's this objective truth or scientific truth. Now, and the grand scheme of things, for a large and vast majority of our evolutionary chain, we were storytellers, we thought in metaphors, and the metaphorical truth was absolutely the the truth that had all the utility. And the scientific or objective truth is absolutely new in the evolutionary chain relative to this metaphorical truth.
But it's
And
all
I think
truth. It's all truth that is basically it's based on how it comports to reality, and the metaphor is just not as like high resolution as the other truth. Like I always told you, today's metaphorical truth is tomorrow's scientific truth.
well, when you say words like high quality, I think that's what you might have said. I think you make a mistake, and this is where I got Alex Malpass. Is that
This is where you got him.
you're on the
Okay, gotcha.
yeah? It's because you are on the cuffs. I don't know if that's the right word, but you are pretty much making a positive claim. You're making an assertion, and you might not realize it, but you're claiming that not only like the problem is that you can't say that this objective truth is more valid than the metaphorical truth. And you said it in a sense because you said, well, the metaphorical truth is not of as high quality as the objective truth. So that's your way of saying
It's not as
that
accurate.
one
Yeah.
truth is more valid than the other. And that's the mistake that people, you want to be philosophers run into. You can't make that claim. You can't sit there and claim that because
Why?
let's be honest here, when evolutionary biologists like Brett Weinstein coin these concepts like metaphorical truth, you guys have no defeaters. You just say, well, I don't like it. I don't think there's utility to it. And I think this objective truth is better. So you guys are trying to now claim that, the objective truth is more better, it's more valid, higher quality, and to use your terminology. So that's the fatal mistake that you guys run into. You can't make those claims. And this is exactly where I wrecked Alex Malpass because he wanted so desperately to make those claims. But once I pointed out, he gave up.
I don't think that's why he gave up. If he gave up. Jonjon, how can you have metaphoric truth without objective truth?
I don't even know how do you know what that means? Like
I believe you.
like it's just like, for example, during our evolutionary chain, these ideas, these themes that have a lot of utility, these ideas that are selected for, these ideas were not objectively true ideas, right? That's what's so vital here. Like, these are important themes. Like, you ever heard say you atheists are throwing the baby out with the bathwater in terms of the Bible and things like that? Like, like there's such things as archetypes and logos and ethos that are fundamentally who we are. This is where we enter into the spiritual realm.
You're kind of
and you're
going
not
off on a
really
tangent here.
woo-woo.
Can we just go back
I don't
to?
think you.
This is all just a complete tangent. So you were saying that objective truth has failed us, and what do you mean by failed us?
Like ideas, when I like, my standard of truth would be a pragmatic Darwinian truth, a truth that's
Yeah, we're
nested
talking
within
about
Darwinian
objective
theory.
truth, though. You said objective
Right.
truth has failed
So
us.
when
Let's
I
just
say
talk about
something
the.
like it's true that objective truth has failed us, if it's true, then what I mean by that is that I'm appealing to the utility of objective truth. Maybe the utility isn't as good, and that's what I mean by it's failing us.
So you're
So
saying
like
that the
you have these ideas.
utility of objective truth has failed us.
Pretty much. I'm saying that, like, for example, nihilism, a lot of people, if they believe in certain objective truths, like they go down some
Oh, dude,
rabbit
you're
holes
like,
of determinism and
Jonjon,
things.
you're like Cypher from the Matrix.
How?
Do you remember Cypher? he said,
wants to study evolution.
he said to Agent Smith, he said, I know that the Matrix is telling me that this steak is juicy and delicious, but it's not really. And you know what? You know what I decided? Ignorance is bliss. And then he gets put back into the Matrix.
It's the necessary lie.
No,
Then
I
you need
just,
the harp music.
Does so metaphorical truth, does it always have to be false by definition, or could something be, if something is objectively true and it's a Darwinian truth that's pragmatic, then can it be both, or does it have to be false?
Well, I think that when we when we really get balls deep, we start acknowledging truths like there is indeed a hierarchy of truth. That's one of the red pills, right? And I think you can talk to really smart people, postmodern philosophers especially, you're going to get conclusions that there is a hierarchy of truth, right? So, yes, when it comes to I'm claiming there are two different versions of truth: metaphorical and objective or scientific, and that a lot of times these truths run in parallel. And what you're asking is what happens if it's all of them? Like, what if it's metaphorically true, scientifically true? Like, we would consider, like I said, there's a hierarchy of truth. Like, the truest of, or what you're asking about. So if something is metaphorically true, scientifically true, it's all the truths, then that would be one of the highest of truths. And when you look in the religious texts, you
That
find
story
those
about
truths,
the
right?
boy that story about the boy who, that fictional story about the boy who cried wolf, and like the townspeople came running, and but there wasn't really a wolf, and he kept pulling the prank, and then one day there really was a wolf, but they wouldn't come, so the wolf ate him. That's a metaphorical truth. But if that story actually did happen, then the boy who cried wolf is at the highest peak of the hierarchy of truth, right?
Well, there would be some kind of like claim that would have to be derived that would qualify as this highest of truth. So it would be like, so what do we gain? What kind of great utility do we gain and put it into an assertion, right? Like, what lesson was learned? Is that lesson true? Is it true that there's utility if you act as if
Don't
that is
cry for
true?
help when you out of a prank. Don't cry for help out of a prank, because then when you really are in trouble, people might not come. That sounds pretty fucking important.
Yeah, that's true. You would say that that is true, right? And because if you act as if it is the case, you will be better off on the other side. It would, helps you, your well-being, has utility. So I've talked about this shit ad nauseum, but there's absolutely no reason for you guys to be, not willing to accept pragmatic theories of truth. They are extremely coherent theories that are absolutely the answer to our current, debunk shenanigans we see ourselves in respect to like the postmodern philosophers. Like, in my opinion, none of you have addressed the postmodern conundrum of infinite, this extremely relativistic notion of viewing the world, identity politics. I don't think any of you have actually addressed that. I mean, Jordan Peterson has. That's what in part has made him famous.
Address it? What do you mean?
So there's other you ever heard? I know you guys have heard this idea that people have to have some kind of deeper meaning in their lives, or else things can go out of whack. And atheists are.
No, I have not
are
heard
prime
that.
examples.
What does it mean? What does it mean to go out of whack? I don't understand. Can you explain that, Jonjon?
I think that if we look at history, we have really good examples of ideas being played out and selected for us, so to speak. And obviously some of these ideas didn't lead down a very productive path, right? I don't want to get into like objective morality because I know you guys,
Jonjon, give us a quick example of one of these things.
Hold on, of what?
An example of one of these.
What is?
Somebody's echoing.
I mean, I think it
Do
all just
what?
comes down to John. Like, why should I value the lie over the truth? It just seems like we're going to differ on like what we value.
Well, I mean, I hope this isn't too much of a diversion, but like I think for people to be a little bit spiritual, and they can't do that underneath the atheist worldview, for lack of better words here. Like these people are having a hard time. Like, I feel like if you get into the atheist worldview and you're just some hardcore materialistic reductionalist, like some Richard Dawkins or some shit, you accidentally close yourself off to the pathways to getting these ideas that people are so hungry for. So, like, I think Sam Harris is trying to fight that fight. He's an atheist, but he's trying to tell people that there are right and wrong answers, or there's some kind of objective morality, and there's some kind of meaning to life, which is
Yeah, but
something
that's
that a lot of the atheists disagree with. Like, a lot of you people hate Sam Harris. And I'm claiming that Sam Harris is just trying to fill this void that is a necessary task, right? Like, atheism leaves people with fucking nothing. It's a non-starter, just like Sam Harris says. But
oh, Jonjon's back.
Right, but people are usually just humanists or something.
So, like, Sam
Yeah,
Harris's task is to use objective truth. He has to use this, like, objective truth and get us, like, pretty much secular humanism. That's his task. He's got to be able to, without gods, without the religious language, the metaphorical truth, he's got to be able to find something, which his tool is reason. That's his tool. He's found reason, and he's claiming that reason is the tool that will grant us the future we're looking for. That through our abilities to reason, we can discover the moral truths and have the secular humanism. We can go into the future having the societies we want without gods. Now, I mean, do you not? I mean, how do you guys not see that that's his like? You guys disagree with any of that?
I'm just still at a loss to understand. I'm echoing, so I don't know who's doing that. You just
That's Jonjon.
like mute yourself. That would be great.
What the hell?
Appreciate that. Oh, it's Jonjon. Okay, Jonjon. Yeah, I'm still not sure that you've addressed the contradiction or have defined truth in a way that we could understand what you mean by
You just stop talking. You didn't listen to anything I said.
Well, you're being a bit confusing, Jonjon, to be quite honest.
Yeah, you're kind of all over the place. Did you want to? What do you think? So you make a distinction between metaphorical truth and actual objective truth, and you keep jumping back and forth between the two, right? And I'm wondering, like, why you think we ought be adopting the same kind of epistemology, or
You have
this,
an
like,
echo, John. Fix
I
it
can,
now.
I am,
Please.
yeah, this is terrible. I can't even
Put in headphones.
think
Fix
because
it.
I'm hearing
Something
myself.
immediately, please. Thank you.
Well, real quick, while he's doing that, did Josh get an answer to his question about the contradiction?
No.
Huh.
So it's really clear to me that people like Sam Harris, who I'm a really big fan of, obviously, they have a task that I think they are failing at, right? And I respect him immensely, but he is essentially a secular humanist, and in other words, he thinks that our ability to reason will grant us the utopia, so to speak. In other words, we can go into the future and get the moral and ethical societies we're looking for because of our ability to reason, because of this tool of reason. And this tool of reason could be, I would claim, is like synonymous with objective truth, right? Like this idea of reason that Sam Harris is appealing to would be equivalent to like objective interpretation or objective truth. And I'm claiming that is like the way human beings are, our abilities to reason is not strong enough. Like, and this is what people like Jordan Peterson, are pointing out, that we need something more than just secular humanism to combat things like postmodern philosophy, tribalism that is arising. We see all these ideologies rising up because of this void that is being left because of this atheism, this nihilism that was left in our society. When atheism won the debate, so to speak, there was this massive void left, and people needed something to fill that void, and unfortunately, they've turned to many ideologies, like we've seen. I mean, it just sucks because I just like you guys haven't even heard of this shit, but like this is.
No,
John,
I've heard it from you many times.
John, can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
I think we've had a conversation.
Fix your echo,
between
Jonjon. Put in your headphones, something, please. What's wrong with you?
Sorry, man. Hold on.
I think we've had a conversation between the two of us that's similar to this. I've been listening to your position, listening to you talk. Sounds like what you're trying to say, and I could be wrong, is atheism has failed us, right? In your initial state. We could just define atheism simplicity.
Yeah, hold on. Let me listen. I'm plugging in my headphones, my Bluetooth headphones at the moment. So you're gonna cut out for a second.
Okay.
All right, they're connected now. All right, we're good. Can you hear
Okay.
me?
So if we could just say atheism simpliciter is the rejection of theism simpliciter. And the reason that atheism has failed us is because while the positions that atheism may give us may be true, it collides with basic human inheritance, and that due to the void of that lack of inheritance, due to the lack of theism simpliciter, we now have just moved to global skepticism, and global skepticism does not give us the emotional necessities of what it means to be a human. Is that something you would agree with?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the same theme that I'm trying to get at. I'm basically trying to say atheism left a void in people's soul or people's philosophy, self, whatever is the most important to these people. Is life meaningful? People want to, feel like there's some kind of higher purpose. And I feel like it's hard for people, it's hard for atheists to philosophize or feel that, or to feel spiritual, for example. Like you got like spiritual, but I mean, I don't think most people mean the same thing. I think that kind of closes the door for a lot of people in terms of developing some kind of philosophy of deeper meaning or something like that.
Jonjon, do you not think that it's theism that failed us rather than atheism?
Well, I say atheism because you can just replace atheism with reason, right? Like this is what I'm saying. Sam Harris thinks reason is the ultimate tool in terms of having the moral and ethical societies we want.
No, what I'm saying, Jonjon, is for millennia we had religion, and people thought that was the thing. But we found out now that that's not the thing, is it? So it would be religion that failed us rather than anything else.
Jonjon just said that you can just replace atheism with reason. That means that his position is intrinsically unreasonable, and that just means there's no reason to accept anything that Jonjon says, because reason to assumes reasonableness, and that's contrary to Jonjon's worldview.
Oh,
I don't think that religion has anything to do with Jonjon's conversation. Religion is just a power structure around
Well, it does. You said it did.
When
I asked him the question, I intentionally
Why are
added
you
the word.
speaking for Jonjon? He's right here. Why are you speaking for him?
When I
Jonjon, we can just
added
clear this up really quick. Jonjon, does religion have anything to do with what you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean,
I obviously, when I use the word religion, you guys do not agree with the way I use it, right? So that's why I've been
Well, I mean,
saying
you shouldn't have
ideas
a problem.
that have been selected for, and I say that religion is also that. So religion, in my opinion, it's like religions are ideas that have been selected for because of the utility on a Darwinian
Just a simple
scale
question,
in
man.
the evolutionary chain. Like I keep repeating these things, but you guys just like I guess I have axioms in my interpretations like that you guys just ignore and we keep going in circles.
He also said that all the SJWs and postmodernists were religion, but if he's advocating for a religious view, then he shouldn't have a problem with that either.
Like one of my axioms, like I just said, it's just something you guys are going to ignore again. I think that religions are ideas that have been selected for on some Darwinian scale. Like I'm an evolutionary thinker, and this is an axiomatic interpretation that you guys are not willing to even address or acknowledge.
Jonjon, how does evolution select for these ideas?
Basically, like when we get into like a pragmatic truth, and we get into like basically it's the utility. So if
Yeah,
like some of these ideas,
postmodernism has been selected for.
right? So
Right, so it has utility.
postmodernism has been, yeah, exactly.
Right,
but I
right.
think that postmodernism is dangerous, and I think it's hurting us. So the utility is really low. So it's not gonna like I think I'm
Something
not really
can't get
pessimistic
selected for
here,
if it
right?
doesn't have utility. That's why it gets selected for.
John, I agree with your overall position. I just think you need a better way of laying it out.
There's no
I'll
way
be
you
with.
know what Jonjon is even saying.
I think I'm able to think for myself, and I think I understand what he's trying to say.
You
and
thought
I think
that what
I
he
Yeah,
had
like
to,
Kathleen,
you thought he has
like really quick.
You thought he wasn't saying anything about religion. His like position is.
I don't think he's saying anything about religion.
He just
I
reiterated
still
that it does.
Yeah, I don't think he's saying.
we just shouldn't let Kathleen speak for Jonjon.
I don't think that he's talking about religion in the way that he's talking about religion. The way Paul was using religion versus the way Jonjon uses religion are two different means.
Kathleen,
Yeah, and I just explained that to them.
Yeah,
I
but we can
literally
just answer. We can
explained
just
that.
answer no question. Does what you're saying have anything to do with religion in the colloquial sense? Yes or no?
I just fucking answered
Yes or
what
no?
you just asked by.
I
Have
said
you been ignoring what
religion in
we've
the
been saying
colloquial
for the
sense.
last
You
10
just
minutes?
reiterated that you were using religion in a proprietary sense. So Kathleen proposed that you were that
Oh,
also.
here we go. Proprietary definitions. I could have just. That's.
We
There,
can
that's
just move
it.
on if you just answer the question.
Conversation's
All you gotta
over.
do is answer the question. Does your position have anything to do with religion in the colloquial sense that we use? Catholicism,
No,
Hinduism.
no. What I'm saying has nothing to do with religion in the sense that you're using it.
Oh, that's wrong. You don't advocate for Christianity?
I'm not advocating for Christianity right now.
You're a Christian though.
No, not in the sense that you would think. I mean, it's like
Oh.
having a conversation with a 10-year-old.
You're on record as saying that you're a
means
Christian. Jordan Peterson identifies as a Christian. Jordan Peterson and you both advocate for Christian positions and values. It is directly tied to religion, period.
Isn't Jordan Peterson a Christian atheist?
Richard Dawkins is a cultural Christian. I mean, it's just a joke, right? All of it's a joke. Like, instead of, I wouldn't claim.
You're saying that
I'm,
religion was selected for, i.e., Christianity. How can you say you're not talking about religion?
All right. Because you're claiming I'm using a proprietary definition of religion. Why are you asking? Even I mean, it's not rocket science, right? I guess all I could do is keep repeating myself for fuck's sake. We're not using the same definitions of religion. We have just this is the same thing I was telling Josh a second ago. You guys ignore every single fundamental disagreement, right? And just draw your own conclusions and argue with yourselves to try to get gotchas instead of just acknowledging people's axioms addressing and arguing to even see if you would accept their axioms and going from there. You guys just ignore their axioms, you ignore your fundamental disagreements, and have your own fucking conversations with yourselves. It's just ridiculous.
Well, it seems that only you understand this, Jonjon. If you're not articulating it, what do you expect us to do?
Yeah, I
Well,
think John.
like usually when I like some of the ideas I've espoused, it literally boils down to I don't like it. I don't think there's utility. Like for example, the metaphorical truth. Like when I point out that it wasn't fucking Jordan Peterson who created it. It was an evolutionary biologist, and that gives it more credibility, I guess, because these people like to shit on Jordan. Whenever really smart people are giving coherent theories of truth and things like that, they don't have any defeater, right? They're just gonna say, I don't like it, there's no utility. And then they just go back to fucking what I would consider, just dumb discussion and beating around the bush, and like they ignore that instead of acknowledging that there is these other ideas that are being popularized that are coherent. They just ignore the ideas, say they don't like it. Oh, metaphorical truth, I don't like it. It doesn't have enough utility. There's no utility. Oh, the way you're using the word religion, I don't like it. The way Jordan Peterson uses religion, the way evolutionary biologists are using religion, I don't like it. I mean, you guys are smart enough to know that's not an argument.
Why aren't
It's
you
not a
using the
defeater.
words the way we use them? Because you don't like it?
Oh fuck.
I do.
You
I
like it?
acknowledge there is. I know. I acknowledge there is. Like we're talking about truth right now, so I acknowledge there's two different types of truth. Instead of just running away and saying that my truth is more valid than your truth, I just explained to you that that was your fatal mistake, and then you just shut up. Your fatal mistake is that you go so far as to claim that one truth is more valid than the other. It's fucking dumb. And I think you know that. And I think that's why you shut up. So that's the fucking problem.
Wait, that's a postmodern idea.
So I think you guys are smart enough to know that that's a mistake. So you guys just resort to saying, well, I don't like it.
Wait,
I don't
that's
like
a
it. And then you run away as fast
postmodernist
as you can.
idea, Jonjon. The idea that there is no like form of truth that is more true than the other. Like, are you talking about opinions? Like people's opinions? I mean, if you're sitting here saying that like everyone's opinion is equal, and no claim to the truth is more valid than the other one, that's directly postmodern idea. That's what it's built upon.
I'm claiming there are two versions of truth, not some infinite versions of truth. It's not extremely relativistic. It's not the notion I'm getting at. I'm claiming that there is this metaphorical
yeah, there's pretty much an infinite amount of metaphors.
entity in our evolutionary chain. This metaphorical language has evolved with us because of its utility. And
What do you
this
do
metaphorical
when like
religious language it's true enough?
Well, what do you
when I say
do,
true enough,
Jonjon?
that would be me addressing the postmodernists, right?
Well,
That's
okay,
like
let's
giving
say
what
you have like two metaphorical truths that make claims that contradict one another. Are they both equally as valid?
I don't even know what it would mean for two things to be equally metaphorically true.
Well, let me give you an example, right? Let's say there's a cave, right, and there are two types of fungus in this cave, and it just so happens to be like this belief with the Ubu tribe that says that if I eat mushroom A, I'll turn into a werewolf, right? So I don't want to eat it.
Let me just
But,
say.
hold on, no,
say
I'm not
it's
finished. I'm not finished.
I'm not going to be able to give you what you're asking
finished.
for.
I'm
I know
not
exactly
finished.
what you're asking for.
I'm not
so
finished.
We're just wasting time.
I'm not okay. Thank you. So then you
I'm
have
not going to be able to give you what you're asking for. So you're going to go into
then you have a
and then say,
Buku
well,
tribe that comes in and says, if I eat this, I won't become a werewolf. I want to become a werewolf. Therefore I won't eat it. They're both making contradictory claims about this sort of fungi in there, right? Do you think that both are equally as valid?
All right. So I'm gonna respond now. It's impossible to quantify the value or validity of the statement as that's what you're looking for, right? You're saying, well, what's the criteria? Which one is more valid than the other?
No, I'm
And how do
asking
we
you if they're
document
both
Of course,
singularly
that's the
equally
way you're
valid.
going to go about uh, challenging me, of course, right? So
No, that's not the way I'm
let me
going
just
about
respond by explaining that when we talk about metaphorical truth, right? Metaphorical truth meaning if you act as if it is true, it has some utility, it helps you survive, right? These things, there isn't some objective criteria. These things are almost impossible to be able to figure out. Like, this is why I said it's true. Like, if it's true enough, then that's just a special way of saying from what we observe, we can see there's utility to this, and it seems to be metaphorically true. So it would be true enough. But Declan wants to go there and say, well, what? No. There's objective criteria and cutoff points here.
I didn't bring that into this conversation at all. That's not what I'm
You're
saying.
going to have to show me which one is more valid
That's
than the other.
not what I'm saying.
Does anyone else know what Declan is saying? What I just said?
He's wondering
Because
if
that is exactly what you were saying. You were just saying that if two things are equally metaphorically true, which one is more valid?
he's
No,
wondering
what I'm-
does the law of non-contradiction apply to metaphorical truth? I think that's what he's asking. Can there be contradictory metaphorical truths?
Of course.
When you say is there contradictory metaphorical truth, it's like saying I'm going to use objective truth to criticize metaphorical truth. It doesn't fucking make sense, does it?
So is there like a different logic for it?
Well, it's a pragmatic truth. Like one of the red pills that a lot of the people in here run away from, they're terrified of, is that postmodern philosophy has dismantled classical logic. And because classical logic is the end all be all for these people's worldview. They go in here acting like classical logic is of the utmost importance. But the
but I'm asking, is there
postmodernists have completely annihilated things like classical logic. So people like me, we come along, we address these issues. We say, okay, well, there's a pragmatic theory of truth floating around in the ether. There's this metaphorical truth that's tremendous utility, and the scientific objective way of viewing the world is relatively new, and it should just be a tool rather than the end-all be-all. So the new atheists think that the scientific objective truth is the end-all be-all rather than just a tool. So people like me come along and say, no, scientific objective truth is great. I like it, but secular humanism isn't going to work. Like we can't just only use reason alone, like Sam Harris is doing. Like Sam Harris is fighting that fight. He's trying to get what we want through reason or objective truth alone, and it's not working. A lot of these atheists don't even like what he's pushing, right? So it's not fucking working. And then that's when people like Jordan Peterson come along and say, well, fuck. That's why they debated for fucking, have like 10 hours of dialogue.
So do you think there's any logic that you can use that applies to metaphorical truth?
Ask that again, you cut it out.
Do you think there's any logic you can use to apply to it? If it's not classical logic, is there some other kind of logic?
Well, yeah.
Because the idea is you can reason using metaphorical truth.
That's a good question.
So there should be a logic that applies to it.
Well, that's a good question. And like I think people like me, Jordan Peterson, when we talk about pragmatic truth, that's what we're getting at. That there's some kind of evolutionary based logic in the ether. So when these ideas are being selected for, there is some kind of underlying logic, right? There's some kind of evolutionary logic, right? That's driving us. And this is where we get God concepts and things like that.
Do you mean like
Uh,
our beliefs are constrained by certain like social pressures or other external pressures? Is that all you're
Well, like it's Darwinism, right? Like survival of the fittest. It's the utility. It's adaptation. Like there's
So
like
they're
let's say
so you're just saying they're like
let's say
physical.
there's hold on. Let's say we're talking about evolutionary biology. Let's say we have a habitat, right? And we throw some life forms in there, and that habitat evolves and adapts to its environment, right? So it's better off because it adapted to the environment. Now there has to be some kind of logic behind the adaptation, right? There has to be some kind of driving force, and that's what we would claim would be that logic. There's some kind of Darwinian logic that enables the adaptation and makes adaptation possible, right?
Well, I mean, presumably the beliefs are going to like rationalize action, so there's going to have to be some way in which certain actions are entailed from the beliefs, right?
I'm gonna let's only talk for like another 5-10 minutes because I don't really want to be on these headphones, man. They suck. And apparently I got a bad echo. But yeah. So in my opinion, in my worldview, when I look at like the universe and life and evolution and all that good stuff, I think there's some kind of driving force or logic behind adaptation, and things like that. And a lot of people interpret that as God. God is the driving force, is the creator of all things. So this is why it's frustrating to hear people, argue about God all day long. It's like, fuck, everyone's wrong about God. It's a concept, and unfortunately, like, what if it's possible that there is a God concept that is coherent, but there's just tons of other God concepts that aren't. And like I said, most people, this is true, that most people are shitting all over the ethos or the ideas or the religions that are pretty bad.
No,
And
but what you're talking about has nothing to do with religion, right? We must be talking about some different concept of God.
just to clarify, I know I've told you this a million times, but you probably forgot, unfortunately. But when I use the words religion, my definition of religion, what qualifies as a religion, is a set of ideas that are centered around axiomatic beliefs, moral and ethical axiomatic beliefs about the world. Right? So I've told
Just
you
about
before.
everything.
Well, no. When you say just about everything, no. I can give you an example like veganism. Veganism is a great example. Veganism is a religion because the vegans, they reason, they philosophize their way to moral and ethical axioms about the world, and they
You can't
dogmatically
reason to
act
an
that
axiom.
out.
You don't reason to an axiom.
Wait, I think he's just saying
Well,
that the religion
they
is a
have certain.
fundamental
I think you would agree that the vegans have axiomatic beliefs about morality and ethics that one ought not do things.
Maybe.
Maybe? Are you fucking kidding me? Of course, that's the case.
I mean, you're saying that they reason to these?
No, I'm saying that of course vegans are making positive axiomatic assertions
I
about
don't
the
know if they're
fucking universe
axiomatic.
on some moral and ethical
I don't
scale.
know if they're axiomatic. I don't know about that. You'd have to give me an example.
Well, I would love to, but I'm totally terrified.
You're terrified?
Yeah, so I want you to wreck me and shit.
Okay.
No, I'm kind of trolling, but seriously, a lot of these ideas, like whenever you guys ask people, do they believe in God and things like that, like that is the most personal question you could ask someone. So these people don't know what they they don't know what the fuck they mean when they say they believe in God. But you guys are just chasing after this objective, man in the sky interpretation to fucking get LOLs and shit.
Well, generally that's because we're talking to Christians.
It doesn't matter if it's a Christian or not.
It's not.
Like,
Well, it does because
like
a
when I
Christian
talk
doesn't
about,
have
listen,
a nebulous
I
concept of
have,
God.
listen, I have a God concept. I've tried my best to defend it. And I think I've done a pretty good job at wresting the God concept within, a framework that would convince atheists, right? Some kind of naturalist framework, for lack of better words. But the point is that, this is like a philosophical journey of interpretation. Like, this is spiritual shit. Sam Harris, all of them do it. It's like what means, like, like, I can't even remember the word that the religious people use, but like there are some things that are of the utmost importance that people value more than anything, and there's a special word for it. But a lot of these things that people value more than anything are like ethos and biologically driven within them, in the sense that they don't even know what it is they value so much. I'm doing a terrible job at explaining it, but I can attack it from a different place. Like when Jordan Peterson explains things to atheists, the atheists are like, okay, what he is saying, I understand, but it's like they didn't know. Like, listen, I'm just gonna have to take a break.
Okay, Jonjon.
Did I?
Let me think about it for a second.
Wow.
Like, let's take like archetypes, for example. Like the movies that are the most popular are the movies that have the archetypes. Like, if you pick an archetype and you elaborate on that archetype really well, it's going to be ridiculously popular. It's going to resonate with people. And what I'm trying to say is that when this type of stuff, when these archetypes, when people are confronted with these ideas, these themes, they resonate with it to a large extent. They understand something about it, but they don't necessarily know
It's
what
just
it
a
is. That's so
standard
important about it.
filmmaking. It's called the hero's journey.
It's almost like what I'm trying to say is these people like something, but they don't know why it is they like it. Kind of similar to that. It's like when people hear Jordan Peterson say, like atheists hear Jordan Peterson say something about religion, it's like something clicks. It's like he's making sense to them, right? Like there's something there, and like I said, he's appealing to like this evolutionary psychology, this ethos, these archetypes, these themes, these patterns of human behavior. Man, you're fucking crazy. Why do you let me rant?
Fuck, what the fuck is this place, man?
So it's like because of like evolutionary biology, we have certain urges and tendencies, and for lack of better, this subconscious drive, right? So like, let's say I'm out and about and I see something and I really like it, but why did I really like it? Like, obviously, there's some kind of predetermined biological aspects and urges and tendencies that led to the whatever it was inspiring me or whatever. So I would claim that some of these things could be like, let's take religious themes. Like a lot of the religious themes in religious ideas are getting at these subconscious, deeply held tendencies, and like the religious ideas are in large part who we are. Like, you can go back to the religious text, Bible, and interpret it as some kind of psychological textbook and psychological piece of work. Study the Bible there is you can learn a little bit about the human psyche and learn a lot about ourselves. Like that's why it's so important to not forget like I can't have conversations with people like Josh, evolutionary based, like to ignore all the fundamental activities surrounding evolution and the way I interpret reality. So like I feel like if you get into evolution, you get into evolutionary biology, you start to interpret the world differently. I would claim healthy. Ain't that right? Helena, are you there? Yo. Damn, y'all got 33 people in here?
Freemasons, 33 Freemasons.
Well, how come it's so quiet?
Because Freemasons are quiet, my dudes.
There's 20 people watching on YouTube too, Jonjon.
Oh man.
Wait, this is live?
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Cool.
Fuck. Like, do you have a live stream going? Like, tell them to like ask me a question or some shit, man.
Boot it up.
I don't think they have any questions.
I'm just chilling, dude. I don't have to work tomorrow, so I'm just like, you know, relaxing, bro. I had to fucking work this morning for 2 hours.
Wow.
2 hours.
I just went to work and got really fucking high. And then,
What kind of work are you doing, Jonjon?
Concrete.
That'll be killer.
So, like, I get paid $13 an hour. I'm gonna get like health insurance in like 30 days, dental and all that shit.
How much does the health insurance cost you?
It was like, I think it said it was gonna take like a dollar or like some shit out of my like check. Or some shit, I forgot.
$1?
$1 every year.
$1 health insurance.
I already forgot, but it wasn't that expensive. It was pretty good.
That's good.
Yeah, that's no, it's not.
No, it's like they take
Wait.
off like a couple dollars off my paycheck every week or some shit. Like every paycheck I get, they're gonna take a little bit
That's
off.
not gonna be good health insurance then.
Well, when I was looking at it,
$1 every week, you can afford like some Snickers or
You're
something.
not even gonna break into your deductible, bro.
I already got my card. Like I already got my insurance card, and I think it says they pay for like 25% of everything. So that's like the coverage.
If you spend like $10.
So like if something costs
You'll break even.
$1,000, they'll pay 25% of it.
It's too easy.
Doesn't even sound like right, to be honest.
It's not too easy, man. It needs to be at least like 24.95%.
Okay, so
That's a meme type thing, I guess.
He's English.
It's too easy.
So like that lack of
It's gonna be a
meaning that
really
people have.
strange like percent, like a really weird one that's difficult to work
You guys
out.
still want to know about my job?
Look, new guy, why are you interrupting Jonjon? Can you just like have
I'm
a
sorry,
seat?
man. Did you
Like,
talk
maybe
about
time
concrete?
out a little bit because you're not interesting. Jonjon's interesting. We're talking
like
to
at the end of the
Jonjon.
week.
Thanks, bud.
At the end of the week, my paycheck is like $4.95.
Holy
So
smokes.
I get paid like $4.95
Okay.
every week. Like I get paid like almost 1,900 a month or some shit.
That's a lot of money for someone with no
Uh,
responsibilities.
I should be able to get a raise in like a couple months. Yeah, we get like 14. So like by a year's time, I might be up to like 16 an hour, hopefully. Cause like,
Oh,
and
that's
like I
awesome.
said, I
That's
work
like
on a crew.
$36,000 a year, Jonjon.
So
Sorry,
I'm
my
on a
bad. That's
crew,
not. Yeah,
right?
36.
And there's 6 of us. It's me, my friend Danny, Steven, Mark, and my cousin Josh.
32. I'm an idiot.
Timmy. So like it's cool. Like the people I
It's
work
not
with, I've known
32.
for a very long time, and like everyone in the company is people that I know a lot, like that I've known for a long time. They all smoke pot.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
pretty
What are you
cool.
talking about, Tom?
Today makes like 400 something a month. That's like
He said if
800.
he
Like
makes
I might
no,
have
he
told
said
you
if he
guys.
makes
I might have told you
no.
guys about that guy.
He said
Little
if he
Chris.
made $16 an hour, Tom, right? And I said that $16 an hour would be $32,000 a year.
Awesome. Jonjon, continue.
Yeah. So like right now I'm labeled as a laborer.
I don't think so.
Like some Mexicans that I've known for a while.
He's making 13
I've worked.
now, and he's
I've been
making
working with
about
them.
24,000 a year. So for him to make 36,000 a year, he'd have to be getting a raise of 50%. But he's only getting a $3 raise from 13 to 16, which is not 50%.
Well, he said
Yeah,
16,
that's
yeah.
nowhere near 34.
I said
Mid-30s.
32, not 36.
It still wouldn't be 32.
Yeah, it still wouldn't be 32.
Why are you guys so worried about how much
Wait,
I
if he
make?
gets
I
paid
make more than you,
$16 an
Tom.
hour, that wouldn't be $32.
Look, he's
No, he's not making 16.
Look, he's
No, I
making,
said if. I thought
right,
if he's
even
making.
if. Look, he's making 13 now. He's making 24 a year, right?
Am I more of a man than you, Tom? Because I make more than you.
Oh fuck.
Yes.
Oh snap!
Oh fuck. The furniture business is booming, or what?
Is it?
I don't fucking know. You tell me.
John, all of a sudden on the high horse, making $13 an hour.
Yeah. He's got a job.
Hey, I wasn't bragging about it. You guys wanted to fucking talk about it.
Actually, you literally said, "Does anybody want to talk about my job?"
I did not try to change the topic, and then you guys kept going. And I was like, damn, you guys still want to talk about my job? So I just kept going. I mean, it's good for me because I wasn't making a whole lot before.
You guys want to talk about my job? Sure, John. Let's hear about your job. Hey, whoa, don't twist my arm.
I forgot. I was gonna bring up something.
John, do you want to know something new about me, buddy? I started smoking THC again.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's
I have
amazing.
I have better connects than you, dude. I'm in Florida. I'm in Tampa, and I get shit from California. Like I got some oil. I got this little pen. Yesterday at lunch, I brought this fucking pen. It's not even a pen. It says Mini 420 box. It's really small. It's the size of like a fucking pack of matches. And it like heats up this. I have this weed oil that my boy gets from California. I get it for
That's
20
great, but
or $25 per. Like I don't know where you're at or who your
so-
connections are, but
so
have you ever smoked the oil?
I just
'Cause
got.
it's way better.
Yeah, I'm actually. You want me to post a picture in general because I've got like 3 carts for free.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Does anybody
I want
smoke
to post
joints
my
anymore? It
heifer.
seems
You
like
post your
everyone's
heifer.
just vaping on those carts.
I stay with joints and the flower, so I haven't upgraded.
There you go, buddy. I just posted it in
I
the
drove
channel.
to.
That's what I'm
You guys
smoking
might
on. I
find
got
this
this
funny.
shit for free, so I don't know like if you get your weed for free because it sounds to me like I'm smoking on some good shit for free and you're just getting cucked.
Is that really yours? How do I know?
Oh, it's his.
Yeah, that's mine.
Yo, show me. What's the name of that?
I think it's called Lemon Haze. It's amazing with tea. I make some unsweetened iced tea with it,
That could be
and I
fucking.
hit
That
it
could be
once,
like
and then I drink some like
CBD for all we know.
unsweetened
It's
iced
not
tea, and it's
CBD.
incredible.
Bro,
Claire has
show
a
us
That's
the
flavor
not
fucking.
CBD.
called.
Show us the box.
Claire has a flavor
Show us the
called
box. I'll
Claire's
show you the
Steak.
boxes I have. I can show you guys the packages and everything. I have all kind of shit. I got Moon Rocks. This one's OG. This one's Mocha. I have some other shit. It's called Waxy Joe. It's a different fucking brand. But it
Hey,
says THC and shit. It says
let's
it's
let the
like 90%.
YouTube audience listen to Jonjon talking to Sam Harris. You guys want to hear that?
All right.
Yeah,
Who
we
can play
should.
that? Who can play that?
That's hilarious.
Who's got that? I don't have.
Oh man, you know when I make my mixtape, I'm gonna need you guys
Yeah,
to
okay.
make me
Yeah,
popular,
sure. Okay,
rich and
gotcha.
famous, and
Yeah,
all that shit.
I got it.
I'm gonna make this mixtape, and
Yeah,
then
well, sure, Jonjon.
you're gonna
Yep,
advertise
gotcha.
it.
Yeah, whatever.
I'll pay you. I'll pay you for real. I'll give you like $100
Yep.
bucks.
Yep. Okay. Gotcha. This is for YouTube.
I'm gonna mute, but I'm gonna post the pictures in a little bit.
Shut up.
Welcome to the Waking Up Podcast. This is Sam Harris. Okay, so I was just on Discord for 4.5 hours, and I got attacked by a clown car of ideologues with a couple of religious maniacs thrown in. What the fuck? Racism, sexism, anti-Semitism, misogyny, a positive love of bullying. Okay, so if you're one of these people, one of these toxic people, go fuck yourself. Okay. So then at one point, I invited Jonjon on the podcast. Now, I didn't want to release this podcast because I thought it was a fruitless and surprisingly painful waste of my time. If there's anything in this podcast that embarrasses me, it's just how annoyed I let myself get merely having a conversation with another human being. You will hear me at my least patient, and you will also hear a fair amount of despair from me at points. I was trying to have a truly honest conversation, and the despair you hear, especially at the end, was over the discovery that this just wasn't possible. There is no recourse when this happens to you. This is wrong on every conceivable level. And now, for better or worse, here it is. Okay, so for better or worse, we're finally doing a podcast.
Yeah, what's up? How's it going, Sam?
I'm good. So I thought I should summarize how we got here and just kind of go through the chronology so that people who are just hearing this for the first time understand about the email chain and all that.
Yeah, I don't care. Go ahead.
Okay. I reached out to you by email.
Yeah.
Where I was...
I was like a day ago.
Yeah. I sent you an email where I was pretty pissed because I was treated totally unfairly. And
I'm going to treat you just how you treat me.
I'll grant you that. I got increasingly exasperated over just how I perceived you in the email exchange. And
No, I'm telling you that I'm just going to treat you how you treat me.
Fine. I get all of that.
Does that really hurt your feelings?
It has nothing to do with having my feelings hurt. I was, as you said, very quick to attribute malice and bad faith to you in the email exchange.
No big deal, man.
Well, it's quite possible I did this when it wasn't warranted. And if I treated you unfairly, that is on me.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't mind. It's not a big deal.
Honestly, I am so battle scarred at this point, and I've dealt with so many people. I've got people who edit the contents of my podcast to make it sound like I've said the opposite of what I've said.
Oh, fuck.
So I'm dealing with people. I'm dealing with people on a daily basis who are just happy to smear me dishonestly simply to see what will stick. And that is what produced so much outrage in me in our email exchange.
Yeah, I get it.
And so there was some talk of us doing this podcast together, but then I pulled the plug on that because I felt it would be totally unproductive. That backfired on me. It was not a good look for me at all. The fact that I was declining to do a podcast with you was held very much against me.
Yeah.
And so I went out on social media just to see if, in fact, people really wanted us to attempt this. And after 40 or 50,000 people got back, and I think it was 76% said yes.
Yeah, because I'm really sexy. You know, I can get in your girl's pants. I got a nice sized cock. I'm kind of smart.
Now, I love that. I decided that I was up for a podcast with you, and you had already said you were up for a podcast with me.
Of course.
And so here we are.
Yeah.
Please tell our listeners a little about yourself and where you're from and what you're doing now.
The shit that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
I can skateboard really good.
Right.
I'm really good at grinding rails. I'm really good at boxes, like quarter pipes.
Okay.
I could fucking do like 1080 flips and shit.
Okay. Well, that's very interesting. But so please,
You know,
just
I grew up kind of with a redneck stepdad, so I grew up hunting.
Sure.
You know, killing shit, shooting shit in the face. You know, for example, when I was 10, I had a BB gun and shot like 200 birds. I used to wake up every morning and go out and hunt.
Right. You are someone who's living in the United States in their teens, in their 20s, right?
22. I'm 22, man.
Okay.
I'll be 23 in like 6 months.
So you also happen to be running for the presidency of the United States in 2020.
Yeah, blood.
How does one even think about making that decision?
I don't know. Probably a good idea, though.
So let me just before I.
Well, there's many factors that I would have to bring up for you to understand. I don't really feel like getting into it too much.
Yeah, but you have many requests to cover this topic and how you come to find yourself in this position.
I'm not sure. Like, I just need a good paying job.
Well,
because I feel like I could, being in that role,
right?
You are capable of helping young kids a lot. Like, especially if you come across a lot of these young kids who are troubled. You know, maybe they have a shit family and things like that. Like, you could really impact these young kids' lives. Like, that kind of sparked the idea.
Right. So,
my slogan, feelings are extremely powerful.
Right. I think it must seem like an incredibly quixotic thing to attempt, even if someone already has a huge national platform, which I suspect you don't yet.
I don't know. I don't really understand what you're asking.
I want to just,
basically, I'm trying to see if it's possible that I can get into some kind of career in which I would love. In other words, I'm trying not to have to go to do some trade, get into welding or fucking electrician or fucking something that I'm not really going to fall in love with doing every day.
Okay.
I would just, I'd be, there might be a slight dose of anxiety, but it's not that big of a deal.
I expect this will be a difficult conversation, Jonjon, and my goal isn't to embarrass you, and my goal really isn't even to actually have what I would consider a real conversation.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right. So as an experiment, I want to use my podcast for this, if only just this once. And so if after going through this, I decide this is just the most deadly boring conversation ever held, and I can't inflict it on my listeners, I won't release it.
Yeah, I don't care.
I'm gonna, obviously I'm gonna cut you some slack because I understand that.
Listen, I want you to think about something.
Okay.
We're going deep, Sam.
Okay, well, let's go.
I want you to think about. Fuck, what is it? It's like I want you to think about God.
God.
Well, you yourself are a God.
You're talking about me personally, right?
Yeah, you are a God.
Are you telling me you believe that?
Well, you are a consciousness floating in space. To a certain degree, you are creating things. You are a consciousness floating in space, creating things. You are the universe.
Well, there's a lot in there that I want to tease out. So I think that you're substituting another word for consciousness. It's not like something like God, which really isn't the same thing as some kind of being of pure consciousness.
Well, you are the universe's, or we are the universe's attempt to understand itself, right?
Well,
because there are things out there that if you could understand just a little bit, you would understand big questions like, where did we come from? What is my place in the universe?
Those are claims. Now, perhaps we could talk about that, but if we're going to talk about something like that, we have to use words that make sense, right? And we have to...
You know what else is interesting?
Jesus.
I was thinking I would love to experiment a little bit and possibly go to Japan and then pimp myself to the women there.
So that has absolutely no relevance to our conversation.
No, I forgot what I was saying. I'm really high. Did I say some stupid shit and I'm just not aware?
You can say anything you want. I mean, I'm simply...
Oh, fuck, man. It's interesting shit. You just don't get it.
What don't I get?
The main point is we're talking about understanding things that are so absolutely profound. Like, fuck, man, I got something special, right?
Well, so let's just get back to the topic of conversation. Let's talk about the... I want to just get into the... Okay, the pause you hear from me is I'm trying to figure out how to proceed here because, this is the kind of attitude that makes you look like an asshole.
What'd you say?
Okay, I mean, you realize there's a cost to this. Having you on my podcast now, okay, alienates a significant percentage of my core audience.
No.
Yes.
What the fuck?
I don't understand how you're missing this point.
Listen, bitch. I didn't mean to be...
You're becoming an incredibly frustrating person to talk to, but I'm trying to have hard conversations like this because I find...
Yo, hold on really quick.
The inability of people to get through hard conversations and to converge.
Yo, hold on really quick. I gotta go for a second. Hey, stop. Hey, shut up, bitch. Yo, I'm back. Yo.
Sam.
Yeah.
Sam.
Yes.
I suggest that you get into consciousness of cock, which is amazing. It's about basically a scientist recently injected some shit into my cock, and it's becoming like self-aware, so to speak.
What the fuck are you talking about? I mean, this is just so insane on every level.
Damn, that came out weird. But
let me just point out, in case this blew by people too quickly, you seem to be claiming that your penis is conscious, but
yeah,
I can't imagine how you can say this.
It's true.
Okay.
Listen, man, I know it. I can't prove it to you. I just can't prove it to you right this second, but I know it.
False.
Oh, fuck.
You just conjured it out of just an act of imagination.
Oh, shit.
How is
Listen, bitch, it made sense, faggot. I mean, go ahead. What were you saying?
Well, so as a skeptic here, so I'm just wondering, how is it that you account for such a disinclination to put these claims to some obvious skeptical tests.
Like what?
Well, I think we should start with, let's start with a definition of consciousness. How do you define it?
It's like the most cookie cutter question you can ask.
Okay.
What do you think it should be?
I think the definition of a concept that we have is the one that the philosopher Thomas Nagel put forward, which is that consciousness is the fact that it's like something to be a system, whatever that system is. So if a definition...
No, that's terrible.
Okay, why is your criticism valid? I mean, just give me your take on all of this.
Well, do you acknowledge that, existent, I can't even say the word, existence itself is the embodiment of suffering, right?
Again, you're changing the subject. I hope to get into those subjects. I can only aspire to get into those subjects with you.
What's wrong with you? I'm telling you, and like you're not satisfied, so
John,
you're just repeating
you're
it.
endlessly wandering off the point.
I'm just not sure yet. I'm just too high. I can't even comprehend what you're saying at the moment.
It's not that complicated. It's not. I mean, honestly, maybe I will learn something from this conversation. But when you listen to it, I hope you will see the places where you could have had this conversation differently.
Yeah, I feel like I'm saying some really dumb shit, and I'm just too high and tired to understand. And like, I've dug myself so deep.
All right. So, what do you think we got here?
I'm sitting in my computer chair, bucket ass naked, with my nuts hanging and my dick hanging, and I'm drooling on myself.
Okay, that's great.
Oh shit. Yo, I heard I don't want to be like really offensive because
okay, just go.
So I heard that how it's pretty abundantly clear you're in a failing marriage.
No, that is not. That is what a position that has been ascribed to me by utterly dishonest people. Right now, I hope you were joking.
Yeah, but aren't you gay?
Don't change the subject.
That's terrible, man. I mean, where do you draw the line, dude?
No, you're responding to obvious smears, and that says a lot about you. All right? I mean, this is not how you have a conversation with another human being.
Do you feel some type of way about being accused of being gay or things like that because of culture?
Okay, stop. I think one thing to make clear up front is that your insults don't matter to me.
Oh, fuck.
Speaking personally, I'm giving you information you don't actually have about me, all right? Let me just educate you.
Oh, man, you better not be talking shit, bro.
Here is a fact. I have 5 New York Times bestsellers.
This fucking guy.
This is something...
I could fucking 360 flip down a 10 stair right now, first try.
Again,
you would never, you wouldn't even jump down those stair sets.
I'm talking about my career as a best-selling writer and scientist. Right?
You talk a lot of shit.
You're no one worth talking to.
What?
I'm not saying
I'd punch you right in the fucking throat, faggot. Beat your ass.
No, but in this conversation right now, where you're
shut up, you fuck.
Only pretending to want to have a conversation on this topic and are just trolling.
You stupid fuck.
That is insanity.
You better watch your fucking mouth, all right?
Listen.
I'll fucking knock you out, motherfucker.
This is something that will be obvious to our listeners. I mean, the fact that you think you're entering this conversation in a way that is intellectually honest and open to having your views challenged and responsive to evidence that you didn't have a moment ago. I mean, it's as pure an act of self-deception as I've witnessed in a long time. God. You are so defensive.
Cry me a river all you want, but at the end of the day, I got a dick between my legs, and it's most likely bigger than your husband's.
It's incredible that you're not...
Don't you have a daughter?
There is the primal reason to end any conversation, however delightful. So
I'd come all over her face, bro. We're just not gonna be able to hang out. It'd be too awkward after that.
Is there anything else you want to say? Is there any information you want to give to listeners as far as where they can reach you online? Obviously, I'll have a link. But are you active on Twitter or anywhere else you want to point people?
In your nutsack. They're in your nutsack.
Just listen to me for a second. People have to be able to disagree and find and find some way. You are pure poison. People have to be able to disagree and find some way of talking about that disagreement in a way that's...
Yeah, we should stop talking about this. Last time people talked about this, a bunch of Jews died.
So good.
It's expert.
The best was the shaving and haircut 2 bits part.
Yeah, the shaving and haircut part is great.
If anybody would like to hear more of that stuff, Penis Tooth has a Patreon.
Yeah, he has a YouTube too. I don't actually know what it is.
It's Penis Tooth.
Is that not where the video you linked is from his YouTube? I think, right?
Yeah, it's Penis Tooth.
Yeah, that's his.
2 words.
And I hear that Penis Tooth is working on some kind of new call, something with who? Bun or something?
I said, I don't know. That's different.
Girl.
I just know he's making a Danny song. That's all I know.
Yeah, he's making a fucking Footmaster song from Danny.
Oh, okay.
I'm a fucking foot master.
He actually posted a preview.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was
I haven't heard that. Can you play that?
It's not uploaded, so I can't play.
I can search for it in general real quick. I think I remember what he said right after. There you go.
I'm the foot fucking master. Shit, yeah.
Interesting.
Hey, Ben, are you there?
Yeah.
You want to play Path of Exile tonight?
Oh. Yeah,